most teams play?
No, it's very different, and that was a big debate, has been a big debate since Jerry Colangelo and Mike Krzyzewski have been in charge of this program. Do you want a big, powerful guy, or do you want an Anthony Davis, the prototype? Because he's got the length, but he's also got the athletic ability to guard international bigs who like to play away from the basket and run the pick and rolls out there. And that's going to be interesting next year when they pick the team for Rio. You know, do they go big like with the Drummond or Cousins or Dwight Howard or DeAndre Jordan, or they go more athletic? It's going to be an interesting choice.
Well, we're going to hear more about the selection process when Jerry Colangelo of USA Basketball, the managing director, joins us at the beginning of the second quarter. Amir Johnson with the slam at the other end. It will be one very unenviable job to pick just 12 players out of a pool of 34 very talented players, as Arron Afflalo knocks down the long-range jumper.
These are the kind of problems that USA Basketball loves to have. The challenge of picking the 12 who will represent the United States in Rio.
Plumlee showing a little bit of handle here. Here's Draymond Green from the NBA champion Golden State Warriors over to Jones. Afflalo, one of the newest members of the New York Knicks, with the three. And a great way to punctuate the end of the first quarter of play. Remember, FIBA, we play 4 10s. And when we come back on the other side of this break, we'll be joined by the guy that turned it all around for USA Basketball, Jerry Colangelo. It's been a slam dunk since he took the reins of it. Back after this. Welcome back to the USA Basketball Showcase presented by Nike from the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. White team with the lead. DeMarcus Cousins leading the way with 8 points. Mark Jones, PJ Carlesimo, joined by the managing director of USA Basketball, Jerry Colangelo. Jerry, I want to ask you first of all, nobody would have imagined maybe the success, the magnitude of the success of the program when you look back to 2005 when you first took over. How have you been able to make it fashionable now for these NBA players to want to play for the USA?
Mark, I think what we decided to do was try to change culture, and once that developed, it began to snowball, but it's taken years. You can see 10 years is a long time to build a culture, and we're very thankful that the players bought in and decided they did really feel about wanting to represent their country.
Jerry, in a summer when we didn't have to qualify because of the great job done at the World Cup in Spain, why was it so important for these players to be here in Las Vegas for this mini camp?
You know, continuity is one of the words that we believe is a very strong component of building a culture, and to go through a summer without any participation just doesn't sit well with any of us. And I really needed to make it somewhat mandatory that people needed to show that they were committed going forward. And when you get 34 for 34 in terms of commitment, that's pretty impressive.
It certainly is. And talking about the commitment, yourself and Mike Krzyzewski, talk to us a little bit about that recruiting job by you.
Well, Coach K is one of the great coaches of all time on any level, and you know, we've been joined at the hip for over 10 years, and he's a terrific guy. And when you go to battle, you know, using that kind of an analogy, who do you want in a foxhole next to you? Someone with his character, with his perseverance, his winning, his leadership. He was the right guy. He's done an incredible job, and I'm very thankful.
That's what happens when you get a couple of guys from Chicago, right?
That
good
helps.
things happen.
That helps too, Mark.
Hey, tell us about some of the new challenges now when you look forward to selecting 12. I mean, an unenviable task of trying to get down to 12 players from 34. How have you tweaked the formula moving forward now for next year?
Yeah, I think that's, I'm glad you raised that question, because what we want to do is protect our players. We don't want to cut people. We don't want to embarrass them if they came to a camp with 18 or 20 and you have to get down to 12. So next year, what we plan to do is we will select our team after the NBA season is over and the playoffs are over and the draft. In the last few days of June in New York, have a big media blitz and announce the 12 players who will be showing up in camp 2 weeks later.
And you'll bring a select team in, I think, again, or no?
A big band of select players. In other words, young players coming up, because let's be honest, in 19 and 20, that team will be made up of those young players.
Talk to me about, I love one of your favorite expressions, the pipeline, talking about those young players.
Well, all of our young teams, 16, 17, 18, 19, they're all undefeated in the sense of all being gold medalists. And the pipeline is full. Everyone aspires to be on the senior team, and so there are a lot of great young players coming up. It's exciting.
I'm thinking back to 07 and 08, our select team. We had Kevin Durant, LaMarcus Aldridge, Andre Iguodala.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys eventually became Kevin Love. They now are the main guys, and they started in that pipeline at a young age.
And that brings up a good point, PJ Razor. So how do you choose between guys that have won FIBA World Cups and Olympic gold medals versus new guys coming in from that pipeline?
Well, it's a balance. You know, you just need to maintain the fact that we're not picking an all-star team. We're picking players who fit the mold, players who make up the composition of a team. So there's a spot for role players. We just have to determine, do we wish to carry an extra big? Do we wish to carry another shooter, a defender? But we have plenty of time to make that decision.
And look at this experience coming back, because it was a dramatically different team. We look at the eight players who are in that 34 from London gold medal to 2012, and 11 of the 12 are here from 2014, the World Cup Championships.
Yeah, that's what's fun for me. I think back to 10 when we had 12 new young players. 6 of them were 21 and under, and people thought we were very vulnerable. We weren't going away, and that was a very exciting team.
Jer, how do you balance USA basketball success and experience versus, let's say, next year's NBA season in your selection process?
Well, I think it's important, first and foremost, that these young men who have their livelihood playing in the NBA take care of their bodies, stay healthy, and we wish them all the success during the NBA season. What takes place with us is an experience that they all want to experience, because they know it's a different environment. They're not playing for their team per se, they're playing for the United States, and we try to put them in a situation where, heaven forbid we ever have another injury of any type, but we try to protect them as best we can. I think they're in safe hands with us.
Jerry, let's talk about a couple guys that have been very special to the program since you took over. LeBron James and Carmelo Anthony, going back to 2004 now, will have competed in a bunch of Olympic Games, and they were two of the first guys to really sign up with you. What does it mean to have them still in it, potentially moving forward to 2016?
Well, it means everything. You know, for their sake, I would love to see them have an opportunity to win another gold medal, because they'll be in an elite group of 2 when you think about it. So that in itself is kind of neat. But they have, you know, LeBron James and Carmelo and Chris Paul, who's right behind the 2 of them. If they were to all participate next year, that's a pretty good start.
Jay, we talk about the youth and getting some young guys into the pipeline. We've got a couple assistant coaches succeeding Mike D'Antoni and Nate McMillan, Tom Thibodeau and Monty Williams, part of this quadrennial.
Yes.
Talk about those guys.
Well, you know, we have felt, PJ, that when we get together, we have an opportunity not to necessarily showcase people, but to bring coaches together who bring something to the table. And in each case, we have felt that the assistant coaches that have been with us for this last decade do all of that. So it's fun to get new input. And the other thing about Coach K, as successful as he's been, he's always open to learning something new. He's never said, you know, I got it covered. He'll listen. He listens to his assistants, and it's pretty impressive.
Jerry, thanks a lot for joining us, and continued success with USA Basketball. Speaking with my international friends, you've certainly made this gold standard in your organization. Back with more on the other side of this.
Thanks, PJ.
Time NBA All-Star Blake Griffin of the Clippers and USA Basketball hopeful Wired for Sound. Listen in.
Yes, I just wanted to be loud. That's all I wanted. So I'm wearing a mic, just so you know. So don't say anything reckless. Yeah, I'm a snitch. I got the recorder in my car, so I'm gonna go through the tape of the whole game afterwards.
Well, if you've seen Blake, in some of those car commercials, he certainly has a great sense of humor.
He does, and suffice it to say, a little more relaxed tonight in this exhibition than in a regular season game or a FIBA USA game.
Yeah, Mark Stein has more on Blake.
Well, as you can imagine, guys, Blake Griffin taking a bit of a ribbing here on the bench from his teammates. They're not used to seeing him miss dunks, and that miss in the first quarter, I think that's going to stay with him. Coach Tom Thibodeau just looked at him and said, "Summertime," and everybody had a good laugh with that one, Jonesy.
Yeah, no doubt, Mark. Let's see, Doc Rivers put that on the clip reel at some point for laughs, and boy, nothing funny about the way Andre Drummond attacked the rim that time.
That wasn't summertime right there.
8 points in the game for the youngster for the Detroit Pistons, who just, by the way, folks, turned 22 years old 3 days ago. And a long jumper good by Harrison Barnes. Let's get back to Drummond, though. He averaged 13.8 and 13.5 this year. Incredible stats, PJ, for a guy that they don't really run a lot of stuff for him, do they?
Jonesy, I think he's one of the more dramatically improved guys in the league, and I think it really changed in Las Vegas 2013 when they had a mini camp for the young players. There was no competition that year, and they brought in 30 of the best young players, and you could see players like Paul George, Andre, some of these guys who had yet to really establish themselves in a league. It really helped them from a confidence standpoint, and they went back and just built upon that. And I really think that was a turning point for Andre Drummond in his early NBA career.
He had an interesting tweet the other day in referring to the NBA schedule as DeMar DeRozan punches one on the alley-oop. And Andre Drummond on social media said, okay, we got 20 back-to-backs, no national television games. Cool. I think he was a little salty about that, PJ, as Martin Carter-Williams.
And that's great. That's great that they look at that and they care about that. And I tell you what else I'm seeing out here, this game is clearly an exhibition. It's very relaxed. The assistant coaches are working. But Andre Drummond can go to the boards and rebound. Harrison Barnes can knock down a three. DeMar DeRozan, they're still sending messages. They're still reaffirming with Mike Krzyzewski what they did or what they're capable of doing going forward.
Green at the other end for the white team. Here's Brad Beal. Lost the handle. And Klay Thompson coming back the other way. Oh, he went 5.